I'm just going to hit Ben with this because he's throwing the ball. He's got his phone in his hand, water bottle at the ready, and we're here in Leamington, 2 metres apart. Well, you will never know how far we are apart, but we're here. The sound quality is going to be amazing. No problems with the connection this week. Benno, how's the ball going? Is it all right?
It's very good, mate. Almost done. So we're 1 metre away from the speaker each.
Well, thank God, because that needle could hurt me if you were too close. So I'm glad we are a distance apart.
That's true.
But no, we're here in Leamington. I'm back. I think we did one in June, didn't we? In the card room. We're in the dining room now.
Was it as long ago as that?
Yeah, in June. Yeah, that was sort of like the back end of June.
Oh, okay.
It would have been in the 20s of June, put it that way. But yeah, it feels like a long time ago, doesn't it? I guess.
Exactly.
Month and a half or so. But no, we're back today. One thing I will say at the start of the podcast, obviously some of you may have seen, devoted listeners, devoted social media followers. You may have followed us on Instagram at View from the Hazards. We've got some content on there from yesterday from our training, a few little cheeky videos. We'll try and get some today, but I don't know if there'll be anyone there to film, but we'll see. But yeah, no, give us a follow. We're going to be basically putting all our podcasts on there. Plenty of sort of content, I guess. It's going to sort of double as a training page, as advertising the podcast. We should have done it earlier, but yeah, Ben's really excited about it.
I can't believe it's taken us 24 episodes to just like
I know,
the social media king that you are. I'm amazed it took so long to.
I know, we could have done so much. Well, to be fair, actually,
Although we wouldn't have been able to do any training,
or
anything.
Yeah.
Probably we would have just uploaded the podcast.
I think that's actually probably why it's sensible. We would have just done podcast stuff, yeah. But no, I guess now it's good we can do some videos, show the world what we're about. But yeah, how's your day been in the club?
Or do you know what I've been doing today?
What have you been doing?
Very exciting.
Balls.
No, I've actually done quite a lot of. I was here at like 7:45 because the first quarter was early, so I've done got all the stuff. I had a tennis committee meeting last night. I've done all my actions from that.
What, on Zoom?
Last night we did, yeah.
Shit.
So I had some stuff to do after that, which I did this morning, and then put a couple of proposals together, and I've been, but much more excitingly than that, in the last hour, I've just been doing some shopping for my garage gym that's going to be happening at the end of the year.
So you're going to sack off normal gym then?
Yeah, I'm just going to invest and just
seriously
go for it. Have it all at home.
No, but how are you going to do PT?
I'll probably still do like that, but I can just get him to come to mine, can't I?
Would he do that?
Well, yeah, for the money. Yeah, I'd have thought so. Well, or I just wouldn't do my PT. Who knows? But well, how cool is that little garage gym?
Yeah, I know it doesn't come cheap, but it's incredibly cool.
I've got a little bit of gear already, so.
And you've got some equipment.
So just having a look to see what I want in there.
What are you going to get? You're going to get a bench press, some dumbbells?
I'm not. Do you know what? There are 2 things that I'm not getting: a bench and dumbbells.
Oh, well, I'm not coming then. Well, there's no point in that.
Then you can pay to use another gym. So it's you.
Yeah, I will.
No bench, no dumbbells.
So what are you going to get? A squat rack?
Squat rack, barbell. I've already got a kettlebell, but I might get another one. I've got a medicine ball. I'm going to get an assault bike.
Is this all coming off your tax bill?
Well, it is equipment.
It's tax deductible, isn't it?
It's work.
I like that. Well, you could double up as a real tennis pro and a sort of fitness guy. Come round to mine, do some training.
Fitness guy. Come round to mine.
That's what Andy Chinnick is, isn't it?
I could just sell like memberships to all my neighbours.
Yeah,
£5 a session is the key.
There's a garage near me which is like, people just seem to be in and out. It's like a revolving door. Like they have PT there, but it looks like a proper gym in a garage. I mean,
garage gyms, mate, it's the way forward. It's trendy.
Get a bit of
artwork in there.
I mean, yeah, but the thing is, you can't beat a proper gym. It's like a library. Everyone's focused. You can't be distracted by like a toaster in your house.
You're in the garage, mate.
No, but it's not the same as going to the gym and like sort of seeing people. And also
there's not going to be anything else in this garage.
All right, well,
it's literally going to be like nothing but gym equipment.
That's fine, mate.
I haven't told Sally yet. That's my space.
I prefer the gym because I mean, there's plenty of people to look at. It's always different.
There's plenty of people to watch you knock out your 15k.
Dumbbells,
yeah.
Curls, yeah. Boys that lift.
Boys being the word.
Yeah, I know. I am a boy. But yeah, what am I on to say? We were talking last night. I was going to do a quiz, but we're not going to do a quiz this week. We'll save that for another time, I reckon.
Yeah.
Because that'll be when a really rainy day when there's nothing to do. I'll do a quiz. But no, we got doubles back. next week,
Doubles
don't
back. Well, as of the
we? Should we
1st
do a
of
doubles?
August, I think.
So this will be a doubles episode.
Well, yeah,
We haven't really planned it, but let's just talk about
Well, no,
doubles.
but I kind of figured because doubles is back. Obviously, real tennis is back, but because doubles, like specifically, is potentially back from club to club from the 1st, I think.
Yeah.
What better time to bring it in and have a talk about it?
Yeah, talk about doubles. It's like sort of talking about a really serious topic. Come on, let's talk about doubles. Because
Let's get it over with. Because a lot of people a lot of people, particularly at like club level, you see a lot of people that like play doubles only,
yeah, you do actually. Yeah.
and then at every level, you would see people that kind of like are probably more naturally suited to the doubles court compared to the singles. So
Great
you could
point.
say like doubles specialists,
Doubles specialist,
you could look at someone's handicap, like put a load of people in handicap order, but that might change. That might change massively if it's doubles.
Yeah.
And then like which role are they playing, or are they just like playing side by side? Like there's so many different dynamics to it. I think it's like a fascinating
doubles. Yeah.
like really interesting part of it. So you're much more, you're a singles guy, aren't you?
Well, I am miles better at singles. I actually think, like, genuinely, I just don't have. I'm just too coached to be good at doubles.
Well, I don't know, not necessarily. Like I was like I was. I don't know when it kind of changed, but like for years and years and years, I was terrible at doubles, like really, really bad. And like now I've got like open titles to my name in doubles and not in singles. So
Yeah.
obviously there's less people to beat in doubles and singles.
Also, you got better partners with you.
Well, yeah, I've been carried, but I think it's one. Like for me personally, because I've been like exactly as you said, like pretty well coached. You end up trying to do all the right things and the tidy things, and obviously, if there's one thing that doubles is not, it's tidy.
Yeah.
And even though it looks kind of like quite chaotic, it can still be like it can still be organised and structured. It just looks quite kind of messy. But that suits some people. It doesn't suit others. I think you're probably in the same boat that I was in years ago, where if you're trying to drift a ball cross court or something and play some kind of length, if you hit like back wall on the full, that's a disaster. Whereas in doubles, it just really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You don't want to do it, but like it's nowhere like you don't get punished anywhere near as much in doubles as you do
Yeah.
singles. So I think you can get away with. You don't need to be like as tight and stuff, and it's just much more of a grind. But it's more random.
I wouldn't say I'm bad. I think I'd play better with like the right partner. Like I'd be quite a good like either number one taking everything. Like let's say you're almost doing like a 2v1 situation. Like when I think what gets me is that you have to worry about someone else and like what they're gonna take. Like if I just had to take every ball, I don't think I'd miss much.
Well, that's where.
Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah, absolutely. Well, that's where like one of the big things about doubles, like one of the big things, isn't it? Is like partner selection. You can't just if you're a good doubles player, you can't just walk on court with anyone.
Yeah.
And therefore play well.
I'd be quite a good number two, like with you, where we played okay. To be fair, like
Well,
I wasn't that
like,
bad in the foreign corner.
No, and then you've got to kind of say to yourself, like, so for you personally, if you're playing, okay, well, not if, like, you will be entering. Let's say the British Open was going ahead,
Yeah.
and you're going to enter the doubles. Who are you going to look for as a partner? Are you going to look for someone to play up at the net, or are you going to look to play with someone who will play at the back so that you can play up the net?
I actually, if I was playing the British Open, I'd look to play with someone who like got major offense, so I could just play at the net, sort of get out of the way, and I'd just get balls back and they could hit winners.
But that's okay. So
Like Daz is not bad.
I think there's the common misconception that like it depends again, and there is a fine line. If you look at like a lot of club tournaments, the person at the net is what I call like the rabbit. It's literally just like literally get out of the way and try and avoid the ball, so that the person at the back can play singles. If you're playing in the British Open, that's not happening. So if you're playing at the net, you've got to be confident enough that you're going to be a brick wall. You're not worried about someone smacking it at you. You're going to look to try and hit winners from there and stuff as well. So you know what I mean? It's a different dynamic when you're playing in that major. So like for me, if British Open coming up, the first thing I would be looking for in a doubles partner is I don't mind doing either role, but I prefer playing at the back. So I'd be thinking to myself, who can I get that's an absolute gun at the net? I'd be looking for. So I would much rather have what I would consider to be a net specialist who is worse at singles than someone else who's not as good at the net. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No,
so to chuck numbers in, I'd rather play with like a 5 handicap singles who plays more like a scratch at doubles than a scratch singles who doesn't play
I
necessarily that
know
well.
doubles handicaps exist, but I feel like if they actually did exist, they would be really different to singles. Like I do feel like there are some 5s who could play to a 0 at doubles.
Well, they do exist, and they will be different for somebody singles depending on like where they're at. But the problem with doubles handicaps is there's not enough data going through.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like actual ability. I think like a Brett Richardson would be like a +4, +3. In
Yeah,
doubles.
like they should
Do you
have
know
a
what I mean?
double. They should. Like, there's been talk about it like for ages, but like
I don't think that's a silly
they
suggestion.
should like no, not at all. I think they should like really get stuck in much more with like a doubles ranking system
Yeah, maybe that'd be quite a good idea.
because there's no reason why that can't happen. So. I don't know how it would work when people play with certain people. Maybe you just add their points together and divide it by something so you get an average. I mean, I'm not the mathematician when it comes to that kind of stuff, but there would be some kind of algorithm that could decide seedings based
on
on
like winning. Yeah,
a partnership ranking.
I think there could be like a doubles rankings, like singles rankings. But then again, there aren't really many matches, are there? There's what 4 doubles matches a year, 4 tournaments.
Well, yeah, but sometimes
It's
you
not
do.
exactly a doubles pro, is there?
No, but sometimes you do get that like that weird, that weird seeding that where you just kind of go, like really, is that pair really better than the other one? And then
Yeah. True.
you end up having to flip a coin to see which half of the draw you're in, and then suddenly you could get a pair which on paper is better. Let's say you've got like there's a third and fourth seed, and the fourth seeds are better than the third seed. You think, but with handicaps they're not.
Yeah.
But like everybody knows that fourth seed would beat the third seed if they played a match. And that fourth seed then gets drawn in the top half against like Tim and Cam or something. You're like, right, they've suddenly got a bum deal, even just because someone's played a couple of pennants somewhere and got, do you know what I mean? Or like a National League match and that's where it is a bit weird as well. Like if you play, let's say you played National League with Rob. And you played doubles, and you were like, and Rob was just like, right, mate, I'm training for the World Championship. I want to play 2v1, so I don't want you to.
I'd be like, perfect, mate. That suits me down to the ground.
I want to hit every ball. I want to play 2v1 and get some practice. Let's say you romp everybody 8-love, whatever. Your doubles handicap through not hitting a ball over the course of a National League season is now like 4 or 5 points better. Yeah. So you rock up at the British Open, and everyone's like, Rob. Jesus, this guy plays off +5 doubles. It's like, no, he just gets out of the way. Like when he needs to.
Partner selection is crucial.
Exactly. So yeah, like that's one of the things that's like so interesting. So what do you think makes a good doubles partnership? Because we're kind of just rambling, but not really.
This is chat. No,
but not really talking about.
No. This is actually quite interesting chat. Like I did consider that actually for a second.
So what like.
What makes a good doubles partnership?
Yeah, what are you looking for in a doubles partnership? It's like, it can be pretty obvious.
So I would go back on successful doubles partnerships in history, maybe. So like I think of Nick Wood and Gooding. I never watched them play, but I can imagine Gooding, obviously a great volleyer, power.
Name on honours boards quite a lot.
Yeah,
so
that's what I'm saying.
They've obviously done something, yeah.
And obviously Nick Wood, like mega tidy, like wouldn't have missed much. He'd have been at the back, I assume, Gooding at the net. And you basically Drew Lyons told me this. He said doubles pairs should basically do the opposite of each other. So you just have one guy who's doing one thing, and then the other guy does something different. Like, so not 2 people are the same.
Yeah, so like, the obvious one is like you would have a good volleyer. Well, you want them both to be good volleyers, but like somebody who is very good at attacking and somebody who is very good at retrieving. So the person who's very good at retrieving is at the back doing all the donkey work, and then the guy at the net just puts it away.
In theory, yeah,
that works. If you have, a different dynamic would be to have two renegades on court who just go, just slap away and do whatever they want.
Yeah, but those guys just don't do well.
Exactly. The risk
you
is
never get like a flair partnership winning.
If you don't have like one person doing the gritty work that kind of goes unnoticed, it's pretty tough because you're asking them both to be on to win, which they're going to blow some pairs apart, but like over the course of like a major doubles tournament, it's going to be hard for them to beat. So people that played like the flair role.
You don't get 2 of them in a partnership. You just don't. It doesn't happen.
Yeah, like obviously, like Vagona's very good at that. Stout is very good at that. And if you put them together, they obviously wouldn't be a bad pair.
No.
But you would kind of think, well, one of them needs to step back a bit and do a bit more of the crap.
I think a right-left combination is not bad in a doubles
Right
partnership.
left is very good. If you've got a lefty who trusts the righty to play at the back, then that's lethal because you've got a lefty hitting forehands.
How
out
good
of the
Stout
galleries.
on his backhand in the backhand corner?
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. I remember watching him.
He must be silly at doubles.
Watching him. Well, I played with him in the World Doubles, didn't I? We had a
Doubles,
great time. Did we take a set with Tim and Cam? No, I don't think we did.
I think you might have done.
No, I don't know if we did or not. It was at Tuxedo. I think we lost like 5-2 and
That's
5
the game
or something.
That's the game where you kill Lumley.
That was in the round before.
In the round before, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was like 5-2 and 5
That's
against
a
Tim and
sick
Cam
one.
or something. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, so I remember watching Stout play in the US Pro Singles against Tom Weaver
This is niche.
years ago.
This is really niche.
And Tom served like a pretty decent railroad, and Stout just unloaded this backhand like Main Wall Dead on that was like quicker than I'd hit any forehand ever. And I was just like, why doesn't he bring this thing up more often? Yeah, I mean, so another reason that the flare guys are good is because the ball's pinging around. There's a direct correlation between them being like good squash players as well. Do you know what I mean?
Jonathan Howell said in his
Carnage of doubles.
Jonathan Howell said in his first book, Better Than a Yard, he said more talented players are better at doubles.
Yeah, because it's far less organised and
that's actually
deliberate.
one reason why I just don't think I'm that good, because I just don't have like that switch where I can just be doing something random. I can't do it.
Well, yeah, there's two reasons for that, and like they both contradict each other weirdly. The first thing is like because it's less structured, it suits them more because it's a bit more random. And actually, if they have holes in their like structured line and length stuff, which they probably do if they're just outright guns, it doesn't get exposed in a doubles court. So they can just step up and tan it around and create angles. And I remember playing with Stout when we played Lumley and Chappers, and I had an absolute nightmare first set. I think they won the first set. I'm not saying that they shouldn't have, but I thought Stout and I would win that. And I was the worst person on court by a country mile. And I just said to Stout, I was like, mate, just create some chaos. And he's like, he's like, what do you mean?
Bring the heat.
Well, he's literally like, well, I mean, I'm not exactly playing like organised. I was like, no, but it's too, just make it crazy.
Yeah.
If you're slapping it around, like Chappers will get drawn into it a bit, hopefully. And he did that and basically kind of took control, and it enabled me to kind of calm down and just keep getting it over, and knowing that he was going to do the crazy stuff. So, but that balance worked. If you had two guys, if I carried on going like nuts and he was going nuts as well, we probably lose that match because no one's doing the simple stuff.
That's quite cool. Could create some chaos.
Exactly. But likewise, if you've got two. Imagine Nick Wood playing out there with another Nick Wood.
They did.
They did. And they did do well.
Yeah.
But you would think to yourself, if I was going on court against Nick and Nick, let's say Nick had a clone of himself, I would be thinking, right, I'm going to have to work hard here and hit a hell of a lot of balls because he's going to get a lot of balls over the net. But I have nothing to worry about in terms of heat.
Yeah, surely that's it. Yeah.
Like I don't have to worry about the ball flashing past my face into the dead on. Into the gallery, I don't have to worry about my gallery man getting hit, or if it's me up there. You just go right. There's no fear factor. That sounds harsh to say. There's no fear factor in terms of like when I say safety. It's not like dangerous. You're not going to get Dells melted past you and stuff like that.
All this real tennis chat is getting me so excited to play in like 50 minutes. I just want to play.
But do you know what I mean? Yeah, you'd go like, right, I'm going to get worked to death here.
Yeah.
I've got nothing to be physically scared about.
I remember, and obviously Snowy doesn't listen to this podcast, I remember talking to Tim Chisholm.
Bollocks.
You might not. Anyway, so I remember talking to Tim in 2016 when we were in America, and I said, you won the World Doubles with Snowy, didn't you? And he was like, yeah. And then he said the next British Open we played, he just didn't have enough power. He said that Rob and whoever Rob was playing,
Steve,
or Rory Gunn, they were just hitting it to Snowy, and obviously they could just get everything back, and Tim was literally just like not in the game because they just weren't hitting it to him.
Well, that's the thing. If the beauty about doubles, and you see it at like, you know, we obviously try and make this podcast at like about all levels. You look at
we actually do.
If you look at like club level, regardless of the handicap, you know, you will always see if you've got like a slightly lopsided pair, you will always see like the opposition try and find the weaker guy.
I personally think so. If I was playing, and a lot of times when I've played doubles, I've been the weaker player. I've never really been picked on like that, which is weird. I feel like the weaker player maybe will get better if they're found all the time.
Well, you play your way in. You play your way into the match as well. You're hitting a lot of balls.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I think the higher levels it maybe doesn't necessarily work as well. Obviously, clearly it will. If Steve's like whacking at you, yeah, you will lose out. But yeah, no, I think that's a valid tactic in doubles, and maybe some people would interpret it as like cowardice, like, oh, for God's sake, I hit the ball to me. But at the end of the day, there's two people on the court. You've just got to pick a side.
Exactly. I years ago when I was still down at Bridport, I entered the British Open doubles with Paul Tabley.
Oh yeah, and he's been mentioned on the podcast.
we had to play in the qualies. And I think we qualified like easily, and because he was just really good, and we played Camden and Ben Ronaldson in the first round.
Nice.
And I was having a bit of a nightmare, and I kind of said to Tabs, I'm like, mate, like I can't, like I'm having a shocker.
Yeah,
just get me out of the way. And he goes, do you like how are you feeling, like confidence wise? And I was like, low. And he goes, right, you're playing at the back for the next 3 games. I was like, what? That's like the worst thing for me right now. And he's like, no, get yourself back there. You'll hit a load of balls and you'll grow into it. And sure enough, like 3 or 4 games later, I was absolutely fine, hitting it well. Just because you can't hide if the ball's coming to you all the time.
So
you know
true.
I mean? The worst thing you can do if you feel like you're not having a good game is try and hide.
Yeah.
Because then when the ball does come to you, you're like, oh God, please no. Yeah. I can't get out of the way of this one, I have to hit it.
It's classic, like let's say you're underneath the grill and this has been a really long rally, like there's been timbers and your partner's hitting them all, and then you just get like a backhand volley and just miss it. And it's like, oh, I'm just because I'm cold. Because you're cold. You're like,
do you know what? Like exactly, yeah. And do you know what? I think that's where like we circle back to like double your partner being crucial. Like there's obviously stories of like people in the past and stuff. Like people like would be like, oh God, you know, if I played with like Chris Bray and I missed, I'd feel like his eyes burning, like holes into the back of my head and stuff like that. But you know. It depends like how the dynamic works. I played in the British Open with Lummers a few years back, and I remember we beat Stout and Rob Fay, and Lummers was like just being his usual like jack in the box like self in front of the grill, and he's like volleying all this stuff out the grill, and he's putting a hell of a lot on the back penthouse above the Della, right? And he kept on saying, "Oh mate, I'm sorry." And at one change of energy, he goes, "I'm sorry, mate. I keep putting it on the penthouse," and I was just like, "Right, mate. Are you putting it on the roof on purpose?" And he's like, what? No, of course I'm not. And I'm like, stop apologising for it then. Like, I don't care. I'd rather it's on the roof than in the net.
Yeah.
Like, I know you're trying your best. Like, if you're telling me you're doing it on purpose and you're just prattling around, then you're an idiot. But you're obviously not. So don't apologise for it.
Yeah.
Don't think that I'm sat here judging you for it. Yeah. Just swing away and have a crack.
So right, let's slightly that's triggered something actually from what you were saying. So you were saying about how like sometimes when you don't grow into the game, you're not really ready. I think there's certain ways in which you can actually make yourself ready for every ball. You always say to me, just expect every ball, but it's not that easy. I remember watching a Cam's corner.
Do you know what? Why is it not that easy?
Oh, because it's like where the ball's coming from and shit.
Yeah, but just if you stand there, regardless of where you're on the court, you see the ball go over and you see someone line up. If you're just like, right, this is coming at me. That's all you got to think, and then you're switched on, so that if it does come to you, like that's what you expected.
Yeah.
Like it's not just get into the mindset of going like, right, this is mine. Okay, no, it's not.
I just wish
this one's mine.
I just wish we played more doubles, put it that way. But anyway,
well, I might win a few more titles.
Yeah, too right. Yeah, exactly. Winning record. So I remember watching a Cam's corner, and I actually took on. Thanks, Cam. I took on the coaching advice he gave because it was doubles. You know, let's say if you buy the grill.
Yeah.
He said never just stand in front of the grill. Always be in like a dynamic position. So stand like basically on the service line, the second one, and move across always.
Well, if you're stood in, so what's your job in that corner?
To defend the grill.
Right. So if you're stood in front of the grill, the ball is coming at your chest or head. How do you defend that?
You're basically just too close to the ball, and I thought, oh yeah, that's perfect. Like
you've got to stand in a position where you can reach and defend the grill, not exactly that.
And so that actually helped me. I think everyone. don't just like stand and be lazy. Be in a dynamic position, so at least you're moving and obviously expecting it.
Well, you see it all the time. Like we have a lot of doubles competitions here, and like they're all marks and stuff. You see it all the time where people just they stand in too tight, right? And the first thing I would say to somebody is, if you're giving your opponent 100 free shots at the grill, how many are they going to hit realistically?
5.
Right. So why stand in the grill and cover the 5? Like all of the other ones are going to hit the main wall, right?
Very true.
And come and like move back towards the middle of the court. So if you're stood underneath the grill, this ball hits the main wall in front of the timbre. It's literally coming straight at you like a cricket delivery. How do you play that?
Just gotta leave it.
Exactly.
Take
So if you're stood a bit further across and you're not even giving them the grill, you're just like, I'm covering everything that comes off that wall so I can play a proper shot at it. Yeah. And then at the same time I can step in and cover the grill as well.
I know. Any other what else can maybe fit the net? It's like sort of again Conor Medlow told me he was like you just sort of move up and then you sort of split step. Is that what it's called?
Mate, but yeah, I mean, but the thing is, like, as a lefty, like, it's something that we will never ever experience. Imagine being stood up there and just thinking anything that's going into the galleries, I can attack. Not just like
that's a slower angle as well.
Like I might be able to, like with a right hander, like we can still attack it. But you know it's backhand, so it's physically a bit weaker. Imagine just being stood up there thinking, I can literally slap this ball.
My backhand's so bad.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
I can't actually hit my backhand down from there. Like it just goes up. But yeah, if you're left-handed,
you're just like I'm just going to crush this. Like
yeah, I know. Anyone at any level, if you're left-handed.
And that's why if you've got a lefty righty combination, and you know the righty can play at the back, like. Does make things like a lot easier. Like when Steve and I played in the US Open this year, we kind of mixed up. We did like server up and stuff for however many rounds we got to before we got to the final, 2 or whatever. We kind of server goes up and kind of mixing it around a bit and stuff like that. And I'd not played well all week in Chicago that week. And when we got to the day of the doubles final, we went and had a hit at lunchtime, and he was like, "Right, I reckon you should play at the back tonight." I was like, "Okay, yeah."
That's like telling a bloke like who's a youth team player, like you're starting the Champions League final.
Yeah, I mean, I was like,
"Oh no, Steve, no!"
Like, don't get me wrong, like it's not the occasion. Like, I've played in Open finals and stuff like plenty of times. I haven't got the best record in them, but played in them plenty of times. But I was just like. Exactly like the Paul Tabley thing. I was just like, I've not played well this week. Is that really the strongest move for us? And he was just like, look, I can be up here hitting forehands and stuff. You're fine, mate. You're going to be fine back there. Like, you've done it millions of times.
As well, it's only Steve Bergoni you'd be letting down. It's fine.
Well, and I ended up playing like the best I played all week in that. We lost. I can't remember. Was it 4 sets or 5?
4 sets and like a few 6-5s involved.
Yeah.
So certainly won the second.
But that was like the best I played all week because, like you say, you just kind of grow into it and see it all the time. And I'll tell you what, there's nothing better if you're all struggling on the doubles court. This is at like very high level. If you're at the back and you're defending some forces and you're throwing yourself in front of some main walls and you're getting it back, that is the biggest confidence. You literally just go, right, if I'm getting that back, nothing can beat me now.
Yeah. Like, defending a main wall is just so sick.
And I remember when Lumley and I won the French a couple of years ago. For some reason that week, like just no one could get a main wall past me. I was just picking it off like so well, and I was just like, and I remember saying to him like,
at least the dead on's not massive at Paris
as
well.
I remember just laughing when we were changing ends sometimes. Like sometimes he's like, what? And I was like, mate, no one can get the ball past me. Like, I just seem to know exactly where it's going off the wall, and I was like, I'm not going to miss. I was like, mate, I'm not going to miss.
There are some times, when you walk on court and you're like, oh my god, like, I'm outrageous today. Like,
what you say it to me after every single knock-up. When I'm like, 3 more? And you're like, yeah, I'm seeing it like a football, mate.
Yeah, it's just the knock-up. I do feel like I'm seeing it well. And then I get tired.
Up and down the middle.
I can't move. But yeah, it's doubles a weird one like that. You're just getting like some frames. Sometimes you have passages where you're just unreal. And then passages where like you're missing everything.
And the thing, like, one of the big reasons it's like majorly different from singles as well is like in singles, you're always encouraging your members to try and set like a good chase, and then basically, if a bit of time goes past and they're not at the service end, you just kind of like, right, effectively any chase now, like you need to get out of there. In doubles, you just any chase you can get.
Mm.
Like the mindset changes completely. There's no such thing as a good chase in doubles. It's just like right, just get away from this end. Particularly at like certain venues and stuff, which make doubles like really hard. Like anywhere with those like different angled timbres, so like Oxford, Hobart, Tuxedo, they are tough.
Doubles at Oxford is pretty naughty, to be fair.
Yeah, and it's small, and you're at the tough end, and the timbre angle's tough. Like you don't want to be down there for too long in doubles.
Yeah.
Even if you've got like some absolute gun partner who's going to slap a load of dead-ons, like you've still got to return every other game.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Even if he hits 2 dead-ons, that can only be like 30 all, and you still might lose that game.
Well, imagine like one of us is returning serve first, right? And we've got somebody who's never going to miss the dead-on playing with us, and they're basically like, I'm going to hit 4 dead-ons in my return serve game. We're going to win.
That's generally like Darren. Like
You're still going to lose the set 6-5 because we're not going to hit 4 dead-ons a game.
Honestly, when you play with Daz in doubles, it's like he returns serve so well, but then just leaves me returning serve, and so it's just like, come on, Daz, we can't handle this.
Yeah, but that's why you got to dovetail a bit. If you're out there trying to do what Daz does, it's not going to work.
Well, no, I can't do that.
Well, what did we do? So I remember playing with Snowy in Australia years ago. Did the Australian Open doubles and then the World Championship doubles back to back. And he was like, right, I'm just going to chip it into the corner. All I want you to do is like try and hit the dead on. If a ball goes onto the penthouse, it's yours. Wherever it is, it's yours, and try and hit the dead on. Because I can't do that. So the weapon needs to be you. And he was like, right, you've just got free reign to have a go at it. If you miss, like you miss, but that's at least one of us is trying to do something like that. If you go on court with Darren and he's like, right, I'm going to do what I do, which he's never going to change from anyway. So that's
the ball
fine.
on the roof was always his when we played in the Open.
And then so when you're returning serve, if you're out there trying to slap main walls and stuff, you'd be like, no, look, Daz, I can't do that, and you should know I can't do that. So I just do what I do, and we'll try and use your games as like the freebies. I'll play my shots. Hopefully they'll flick it up onto the penthouse. Then you can slap. Then you can hit a dead on.
Doubles tactics, isn't it?
Well, you've got to know what your partner is good and not so good at, so you can figure out how to try and pick. How to try and pick your points out.
Here's one for you. Americans are really good at doubles at lower levels than open levels. I think American club members are better at doubles than English club members.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, like as in that's a statement. Discuss.
Yeah, I just think Americans are more suited to doubles. What kind of level
are we talking about here? Like 5 to 20 or something?
Certainly 10 to 20. Yeah, I'm saying.
Yeah, and do you know
I just think Americans are more suited. They're more like volleying, aggressive players naturally.
And do you know why I think that is probably the case?
At least you agree.
Is because not all American clubs, but the vast majority of American clubs, or probably not actually. Anyway, they've got rackets and squash in the same building, so they probably play all sports.
Great observation.
So
that's a great observation.
If you play rackets and you're used to the absolute carnage that rackets is, and you then play real tennis doubles, it's like a walk in the park for you.
Yeah, so true.
The angles are similar-ish, but it's all a lot slower. So those guys, I would agree. If you're American and you play decent rackets, you're going to be a good doubles player straight away. Because I know that, and this sounds rude, you turn around and you go like, do you know what, strategy doesn't mean anywhere near as much in doubles.
Yeah.
So just try and get the ball in the stroke area, and just keep getting the ball over the net and create a few angles. But do you know what I mean? If you give a good rackets player those instructions, they're going to be like, okay.
Yeah, generally, like maybe tactics-wise horrendous, but they'll get the ball over.
Yeah, it doesn't. But I mean, you can get away with it in doubles because it is more like chaotic and more kind of it's more reactive.
Yeah.
Than
proactive
other stuff. So I would say if you've got a 12 handicap that plays rackets and a 12 handicap that doesn't play rackets, I would rather play doubles with the rackets player.
Yeah, true. Singles.
No.
The real tennis bloke's going to win.
Yeah, because it's a different dynamic.
Yeah.
Singles. But that's what's amazing is when you watch like one of those good rackets players play singles and you're like, oh, they just don't know what they're doing. Do you know what I mean? Like if they had like
not naming names.
If they had a strategy, they'd be like 10 points better straight away.
But the fact of the matter is they'll never have a strategy.
They will never have a strategy. But that doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? If you get someone,
do you have to answer the door?
No. If you have someone that has a good eye and plays good rackets, they will play good doubles, and that's why I think that supports your view of like the Americans being good doubles players in that kind of team.
Not a bad observation. I know we've got a few Americans who listen in the audience.
I could be wrong, but like I think every time I've watched like rackets players in inverted commas play like reelers and stuff, I'm just like, they do see it like a football because it's so slow. To put them on a doubles court, it's just not going to be an issue, is it?
I know, genuinely. Whenever I played rackets, I was just playing real tennis out there, just like pushing it around. So it never really affected me. However, yes, doubles. That's 35 minutes on doubles. I feel like we didn't even plan that at all, but we talked.
Do you know
about
what? I feel like we could almost have just like scratched the surface as well. We could go so much more into it.
That's actually quite interesting content we've just produced there.
But if we're looking to like offer people advice, partner selection is crucial.
Yeah, I find the most crucial.
Think about like what kind of partnership you want to have.
Yeah.
Are you going to go with like 2 reliable people, or one with weapons and 1 reliable, and select your partner like carefully based on that, and also like play the role. Do you know what I mean? Play the role. I've got someone here as a member who's a really, really good volleyer, but they just don't want to play at the net because they want to hit too many balls. They want to be too involved. And I'm like, if you played at the net, you'd be like the best player in the club if you played at the net, but you don't want to because you just get bored. So, pick someone that's going to play that role, and just dovetail. Don't give each other a hard time. Do what you do. And
have fun, eh? Have fun.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. This is dangerous now because are we going to talk about Leamington?
Well, yeah, we were. I think.
I don't think we have, mate. I don't think we've talked about it.
I think it was Jesmond, wasn't it? But one of my members, who reliably informs me that he doesn't think that we have talked about Leamington yet.
I just don't know if we have.
Well, why don't we just talk about it then? And if we have, then it gets 2 mentions.
Are you not on YouTube?
No.
I might check before we start.
Well, no, because it will take a while.
Oh no, I don't know, mate. I don't think we have done Leamington because you've done pictures.
We would have done. Yeah, well, I've not done a Leamington picture.
You've not done a Leamington picture.
No. We would have done Manchester and Bridport to start.
Yeah. And then we did like Canford or something.
Yeah,
we can't have done Leamington.
We then went geography.
Yeah, we can't do it. He's right. We'll fire up here. Well, we're in Leamington in the club, in the dining room. It's where we both played a lot of tennis.
Do you want to give people a bit of a history on it?
Yeah. Started in 1846 according to the badge, which is on the court.
Manchester, Bridport, Canford, Seacourt.
Yeah, there we go. 1846. Yeah, I think it was men only until 2006.
2009.
2009. Really?
Yeah.
Really? So I was only allowed in 2010. And yeah, just a quite cool place, I guess. Like a sort of gentleman's club vibe, but not anymore.
Yeah, it's got that like old look about it, hasn't it? Like
it's old-ish inside.
You walk in, it's like taking a step back in time. But
Manchester's like proper Hogwarts, but I genuinely like with their heads on the walls and stuff. But I think Leamington is a bit older, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's just that like everything's like dark wood, like the dark red carpets with like gold trim and stuff. Like you can just imagine. As you walk into the bar, you can imagine someone sat there, like with a glass of scotch next to them, cigar like burning in the ashtray, asleep with a newspaper over their head. Do you know what I mean? You could just picture it now. You've got the card room.
Yeah.
Card room, dining room,
squash court.
It's one of those clubs that you go into and you could, there's like different like areas of it, like say with the dining room stuff. It's not just like a small place where everything happens in one room. So for like tournament weekends and stuff, it is absolutely superb. You've got the dynamic of like the dead on, which obviously gets quite rowdy. You've got the bar if you want to go and have a drink. You can play cards in the bridge room. There's dining room for lunch. Like there's a lot going on. You can easily spend like all day here for a tournament and like have a really good.
Somewhat spookily, it's 15 minutes, if that, from Moreton Morrell. So obviously probably 2 of the closest courts,
very close,
excluding London in the UK, I reckon.
Yeah.
Lords and Queens, pretty close.
Well, yeah, mileage much lower, but time-wise much higher.
yeah, literally. But yeah, they're really close. And Leamington was here first, as we explained last week. But yeah, Trying to think now.
Well, court characteristics then. How does it? Well, in terms
How
of
does
what
it
it's
play?
done, it in terms of yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things that have happened here, steeped in history. Like the inventor of the handicap system was the president here. Unfortunately,
R.I.P.
passed away last week.
Yeah, literally.
So the handicap system was kind of invented by somebody who was here. There's just loads of they've got they've still got the betting book with
Quite historic,
annals
quite
of history of
sort of as a
stuff from years
tournament
ago.
place. Yeah, I think it's in terms of amateur tennis, quite a lot's happened in terms of drawing in people from all over the country. I think in the 70s, 80s, 90s.
Yeah, well, it's got the largest handicap singles competition in the country,
Might have to be scaled down in January, Ben.
which isn't as in I mean obviously things like the Hampton Court internal club singles is
Massive,
is
yeah.
bigger, but in terms of an open national handicap thing, it's got the biggest one there, which is always great fun. It's just a very very good tournament venue, and obviously we did the IRTPA Championships twice.
Listen here, what I think about Leamington, I think it's the perception of Leamington is changing from this gentleman's club place to a bit of it's a phoenix. It's becoming this place where good players come to play.
Well, let's hope so, because I think
you're quite good.
I think one of the big things is that it's very difficult to shake a tag and a reputation, and obviously because of the men only factor until 2009, it still probably carries with a lot of people quite a sexist club, and they're trying to change that a lot. It's not sexist. Everybody's welcome in.
Yeah.
To play in tournaments, to come and socialise, everything so it is welcome, but obviously the stigma attached to it, which hopefully is starting to die down, is that kind of thing, and the old worldy type thing kind of lends itself a bit more to that gentleman's factor and stuff. But yeah, it's not that is absolutely not the aim of the club.
No, of course not.
At all.
Not now, not since I only came to uni in Birmingham, because obviously I was like, well, yeah, if you want to get better at reelers, there's somewhere where you can actually come and play.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously we've brought some higher level tennis to the club since I've been here, just because we did the ILTPA Championships twice. Obviously I've done National League a few times here, which is you've been here to practice, and some pros like to
people come now, yeah,
come and have a hit here. So I think the club is exposed to a higher level of tennis now.
Similar vibe to maybe some of the American clubs maybe here, as opposed to the multi-sport. I think maybe just.
What, you used to have a rackets court?
No, well, apparently, if you look through those windows.
Yeah, not biting.
They're not windows. But yeah, there's a similar sort of vibe. I feel like a lot of American readers players would feel at home here, perhaps, with the dining room and just the fact you can just sort of go in and out. It's in the middle of a town, stuff to do.
Do you know what that is like?
I'm surprised I only just mentioned that.
For the tournament weekends, it's absolutely brilliant, because you're in the middle of town. You can nip out and do stuff.
Good charity shops.
Yeah, exactly. And get back. It's well located. Shame it doesn't have any parking. That does hold it back.
Well, you just got to be a bit proactive and find the free parking spots like I have this morning. Got a great spot.
Yeah, do you know what? Some people kind of go
mate, it's a 10-minute walk.
Because there's the comparison to Moreton, because it's very close. The pricing gets compared a lot and stuff. And people, you can park at Moreton. It's yeah, and you can park within a 5-minute walk of Leamington for free and walk if you want to. But if if you can't be asked to do that, yeah, you're gonna have to pay.
You are gonna have to pay.
You're gonna have to pay £2, but you don't have to. You don't have
you
to.
Definitely
pay to park.
do not have to pay. You do not have to pay. Yeah.
Anyway, much more importantly, what does it play?
How does it play? Oh, fucking hell, we're just talking. How does it play? It's quite bouncy.
It is very bouncy.
I think people are always like, oh, it doesn't cut down at Leamington, which is fiction.
Yeah, it is fiction. It does cut down.
Quite true.
You've got to do quite a lot for it to cut down.
Yeah.
So the average player can't get it to cut down here, but it does cut.
Places like Queens and Middlesex cut down less than here. Sorry, I think Leamington cuts down more than those two places.
Yeah, Leamington will cut if you've hit the ball correctly. Do you know what I mean? There are some courts, if you go to Philly, you can cut that ball in there all day long. It's not cutting.
Like it doesn't matter how much spin you manage to get on it and stuff like that. It's just not happening.
I think it's quite a fair court to serve on. Target's pretty fair. Tamba's alright.
Yeah, it's one of
So,
those
yeah.
like it's one of those.
A
It's
lot of
one of
people.
those courts that it can be if you get like messy players on court, it can feel ridiculous because the ball can bounce like in extreme ways and stuff like that. A bit like Paris,
Yeah.
where it grips and throws itself around all over the place. If you get two tidy players on court, you wouldn't notice that the court is bouncy in the slightest.
No, I think a lot of people come here and just overhit because they're like, "Oh my god, it doesn't cut down," and they try and do too much. Whereas it almost suits like quite a flat shot rather than people like ripping it around. I think it's all about length here.
We
First
get like
bottoms.
a lot of comparisons to Morton, obviously, and the more like a lot of people that are members of both, and they're like, "Oh, I just prefer playing at Morton because it cuts down
No
more."
way, it
And I'm
doesn't-
like,
doesn't.
right.
It just requires a different kind of retrieval. Like
Basically, what
you have to time your shot more.
What they mean by that is that like if they hit the same shot at both courts, Morton gives them a better result. Doesn't mean they cut. It doesn't mean
Yeah,
like
it doesn't mean you've cut it anymore.
doesn't mean they cut it anymore. Or hit a better shots. And actually,
Yeah,
like
it basically just means that something different will happen. It just means
I think to myself with Leamington, when people kind of go like, "Oh, I just don't get rewarded for it" and stuff like that, I'm like, right. So if you live in Warwickshire and you've got two courts that are 15 miles or 15 minutes apart that play completely differently, one is quite quick and cuts down, and one, generally speaking, doesn't cut down. How good is that? Because you can basically like every time you walk through the door of one, you've got a different type of challenge. So, like you say, people overhit the ball at Leamington. It's like because you can bang it in at Mawson, it will help. The court will help you. So when you come on court at Leamington, you've got to adapt your game a bit, try and keep it a bit shorter. Length becomes more important. And I just don't understand why some people are like, oh, yeah, Leamington's just too bouncy. It's like, all right, well, why don't you like try and like rise to the challenge and do something different? Do you know what I mean?
And anyone who's moaning about the court, they just get a bit better at the sport. If I'm honest.
So, I mean, it always boils down to that, doesn't it?
Like when I was worse and when I was younger, off like 35 and stuff, and I did used to think that I was like, oh my god, it just doesn't cut down here. And someone who will remain nameless, I played them at Manchester a few years ago, and they were just like, oh yeah, no, my cut volley just comes down at Seacourt.
Yeah,
I really
not
like
surprised.
that.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
your topspin volley comes down at Seacourt.
and he was
as well.
basically just like hitting cut volleys in, and I was just picking him out the corner and just hitting him. And he was like, "Oh yeah, play at Seacourt. Like, that ball's coming down." I'm like, "I'm not really arsed, mate. Like,
Yeah.
no,
We're not at Seacourt.
I probably wouldn't serve a ball straight on your cut volley. Like,
So it's one of the, I think it's one of those courts because it is like it won't cut unless you've done some work to it, but you can keep it tight. I think it's one of the two things that I really love about this court. It really, really forces you to play line and length well. So it's such a good place to, and any of these courts that are quite bouncy that we've mentioned, like Hollyport and that we've visited, Bristol, they really encourage you and force you to think about your line and length a bit more, which means you can really practice the base level of tennis and then start to build up from there. So it really does like
shot choices as well. I think that's a lot.
And I think and I remember when I first started here, it was bouncing stuff. I was like, as a competing player, I was like, this is a perfect place to practice because the rallies are just long and you've just got to work hard and be patient, and it just teaches you all the right things about and it's that Seacourt mentality where they just put it in the corner and it comes back and they're like, oh my god, what? Why have I got to play 3 shots? It's like I would hate to be brought up like in my real tennis experience thinking that 1 shot was good enough. Like somewhere like this that's a bit bouncy, it teaches you like you've got to be prepared to put the ball in again and again and again because you're not going to get that immediate reward. I think that's a really good trait to have.
I agree.
There's my rant on bouncy.
Woo!
Bouncy and cutty courts.
It's good. It's good. Probably one of my favourite courts. Play well, just read the ball. And,
the crack down the middle is just like it's just starting to become like a bit of an issue. So like
it's like Chase 5, isn't it?
Well, the floor is massive big slabs basically. So they cover like half the width of the court, and then the first one is like just over 5 yards long. So the second one, I assume, is going to be the same.
Yeah.
And that join in the middle is just starting to kind of rise a little bit in places. So at some point, it might, that is going to be an issue. But obviously buildings and floors and stuff move so slowly. It could be decades away yet. But,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, it's one of those like it's difficult to like rank it because obviously, like from my perspective, like it's got to be high because I play it all the time, and our decision making process, isn't it, is always like if you got told you were playing a world championship match there, would you be happy? And
Yeah.
I obviously would because
Yeah,
I
same.
know the place like the back of my hand. So
Yeah, I'd be fine with that. I'd be dangerous here, very dangerous.
dangerous. I like
I would
it.
be dangerous, really dangerous. That's why I'm playing field. That's why, well, it's pole now, isn't it? But like,
It is pole.
now we're in the top division.
No more of this field trophy nonsense.
Oh yeah, it's 3-time winner. Get me anyone on this court, and obviously no one's played it before, really, have they? I mean, no one. If there aren't any high tournaments,
Yeah, it's
really,
not
if you're
it's
an
not
amateur.
one of those like Queens where
You don't-
everybody's
Yeah.
played at Queens a lot because all the stuff's there,
And so,
and
like,
there's no real kind of advantage to it being at home.
they'd walk on and be like, "Oh no, what am I doing? The ball's bouncing around."
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd be dangerous. I'd be a lethal weapon.
I remember watching the first year we had the IRTPA here, and like you saw people out there practicing and stuff, and you can see them kind of like chatting to each other like in between rallies and stuff, like, oh yeah, that is bouncy over there, isn't it? And obviously it's weird because it's just we don't even think about it.
No.
It's second nature. But when you go to a different court, when we go on our little miniature tour down to like
Fucking hell, we need to do that.
Hardwick and Oratory and stuff, you will be like, oh yeah, it doesn't really cut down in here. Or it's because you're trying to figure it out because it's not somewhere you've played.
As long as it wasn't like Ballarat that day.
Something
That's
you've played a lot.
that's probably the worst I've ever played.
Ballarat.
Do you remember?
I do remember that, yeah.
I literally like couldn't move to the ball, like having not slept. I just thought like I don't know what was going on.
Well,
But
it was
yeah.
a 24-hour flight straight
God.
down. Wait, pick up the. We got like an Uber into.
No, you drove.
Well, no, we got an Uber into the club, got our accommodation, went and ditched our stuff, and then walked down, hired a car, and drove straight out.
Yeah.
So like that was a length. Just literally played for an hour and then turned around to Bruce and were like, right, cheers, mate, that was great fun. We're gonna have some lunch and then go back to Melbourne.
Oratory and Hardwick hopefully will not be like that. But yeah, so Leamington were both putting quite high on the list.
It's got. I mean,
Leamington's top 3 course to me.
top 3.
Yeah,
love
definitely.
that. Well, I mean, it's got to be top 3rd for me, obviously, because it's a bit of an unfair question, isn't it? Like it's where I play all the time, so obviously I would be confident to play matches here. So
Yeah, for sure.
and it would be pretty concerning if it wasn't top 3rd.
We'll see how it goes this afternoon, eh?
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, rest of the day, obviously, we're hitting now. I'm off to Manchester playing a cricket match this evening, and then back in the gym. You got any PT this week?
Tomorrow morning, mate. First one back.
Yeah.
8:30. Just to
wow.
see if all these like home workouts have done anything.
Just make sure you keep putting stories on of you from the hazards because I quite like it. Whenever you're doing training or something, just inspire people, you know.
Okay, I'll take a picture of like a 400-pound barbell or 400-kilo barbell tomorrow and try and tell
There's
people
some
I'm
blokes
just like-
using.
Yeah, exactly. Excuse me, mate. Can I just take a photo of
Yeah,
the bar?
yeah.
If you could just get
Whoa,
out,
that's so impressive.
you get out of the picture.
Yeah.
Do you mind taking a picture of me stood next to it?
Can you spot me on this? No, I can't. As he moves his gear. But yeah, I know I'm in with Daz. We'll have to get a new guest on here at some point. You know?
Yeah. We've got someone in mind, so we just need to make an approach. And
It can be an in-person thing. To be fair, we can do some 2v1 now. Oh, I hadn't thought about that.
Well, I don't know. They've not okayed 3 people on court.
2v1.
2 or 4.
Oh yeah, 2 or 4. I know, or 1.
In fact, they haven't okayed 3 people because you're not allowed to mark a single. So, which it seems so strange to me. But
Oh my God. You can't even watch in the dead on probably.
you can't.
Right, okay, here's one for you guys. Please comment on the Insta, get involved in the Insta, react, whatever to the stories, anything you want to see. I think we should do some polls on the Insta.
Yeah.
Like, let's say sort of challenges.
Well, now we have a page
Medium.
that people see more of rather than a YouTube page. We can do that.
So I think we should do some more polls, questions, anything you'd like to see, just comment. I know a lot of people got in touch with me yesterday saying they like the training videos, want to see more of that. That's ideal.
Yeah, which I completely agree are very, very good. The quality of those videos was pants though.
Well, yeah, that's what happens if someone's just filming it in the back.
With a with a not so smartphone.
I know. When you're
You need to up your vlogging game, mate.
yeah, I know. I'll get the camera sorted.
Right. You need to sign us off because I need to go and clean the court.
No, I do indeed. Well, until next time, guys.